Please help me. I'm lost. Hi everyone. This will be my first post on Reddit ever that isn't true crime related, and I just want some opinions from random strangers that don't know me at all. I'm so hurt and lost. My boyfriend, 29, and I, 31, will have been together for 2 years this upcoming Friday. It's our anniversary. I love him so much. Like, reach for the stars, over the fence, World Series kind of stuff. I'll start at the beginning. I doubt anyone will read this and I'll try and keep it short. We met 2.5 years ago. We were both just getting sober and out of long-term relationships. He has 2 kids from his previous relationship, 6 and 3. I love them with all my heart and they call me mommy. I've been raising them for 2 years because their bio mom comes and goes and is more interested in abusive relationships and drugs than her kids. Our home is the only stable home they've ever had. Their room in our home with their beds is the first of its kind for them. They've had a hard life in their very short amount of time they've been on the earth, and when I came into their lives I vowed that I would never hurt them and I'd protect them and always keep them safe. I've been sober since March 1, 2019. I had an opiate problem for a couple of years and finally got away from my ex who was my partner in crime. He's a great guy and we are still friends, we were just bad for each other. The point of that information is that I'm an addict, been with an addict, seen addiction, know it like the back of my hand because I've lived it. Over a year ago now, I noticed some of those behaviors cropping up in my boyfriend. He gaslighted me for months and told me I was insane. I even started going to therapy because I thought maybe it was just the issues from my ex resonating in my brain and I needed help, and I didn't want our relationship to suffer because of my past. Till the day I found him overdosed in a bathroom turning blue and saved his life. Thank God for Narcan. He went immediately to a mental health institution for a few weeks to detox and start over. I tried to start over and get past everything. I was traumatized by it. I had almost lost him because I had trusted him. It's been over a year since then, and a few things here and there have happened that made me question his sobriety again. I found baggies in his car. Beer in the trash can. He lied again. Gaslighted me again. Promised he would get sober again. Whenever I confront him, his first instinct is to lie, and I get it. I've been him. But his anger is terrifying. But that's not him when he's sober. It scares the living shit out of me, so a lot of the time, I will just let my intuition run wild and not ask questions, regardless of if I know the repercussions. He gets angry at me accusing him and not trusting him. But when my gut feels that sinking feeling, and he tells me I'm crazy, I always find out later it was right all along. I found out 2 weeks ago that he was going to a clinic for Suboxone behind my back. I am not a person that believes being on maintenance doesn't make you sober, but I can't have opiates in my house with me, or see the person I love on opiates. I just can't. When I had surgery earlier this year, my dad flew out here to take control of my controlled substances because although I'd love to think I can trust myself, I just don't want to endanger myself. That's how it is. And him being on Suboxone behind my back for months and lying about it to my face and making me feel insane again when I knew he was being different, just makes everything feel much, much worse. He said he was just taking it so he didn't get high again and he had to lie to me because he knew how I would feel about it. We've discussed it before and I begged him to get on Vivitrol, or literally any other form of maintenance that you can't abuse. Instead, he did what he wanted and lied about it. I also just want to say that he was sober for the first year we were together. So I know he can do it, and I know how wonderful he is when he's sober and actively in recovery. My dilemma is this. What's the line, guys? What's the line between loving someone unconditionally and sticking by their side through everything because you love them, or leaving for your own mental health because you feel like you're on the verge of a mental breakdown from all of the gaslighting and questioning your sanity? All of you might say, just leave him, bitch, WTF, but I love him. And I love the kids. So much. I can't even express how badly it would break me to have to leave them and how traumatizing it would be for me, let alone them, when they don't understand why the only stable mother figure in their life left them again. Somebody never gave up on me, and that's how I am the person I am today, and still sober. I don't know how to give up on him. I don't know what to do. I'm lost. Please help. ETA. Wow. I didn't expect anyone to even read this. Thank you all for your words of support. There are a few things that people continue to ask or reiterate in the comments and I feel like I needed to add this edit to clarify a few things. CPS knows about the Suboxone. My boyfriend completed treatment, parenting classes, mental health evals and everything else that CPS asked him to do when a case was opened a few years ago. He recently went to court to get permanent primary custody of the kids. They drug tested him. This is how I finally found out that he was on Suboxone. CPS does not care because it is prescribed by a doctor. I am the only one that is affected by its presence in my life. I will never get custody of these girls. If my boyfriend loses custody again, which unless it's physical or sexual abuse, it's extremely hard to lose custody to begin with in the state we live in, i.e. the kids' mother's neglect and abuse charge, her never even buying them car seats, currently going back and forth between a homeless shelter and a battered women's shelter, and she still got a full return to parent with joint custody and was never even drug tested after disappearing for 10 months. And the kids would end up going back to their mom, who would be awarded permanent primary custody instead of my boyfriend, but it would still remain joint custody between the parties. If she catches another abuse and neglect charge, they would go back to his grandparents. The state I live in gives chance after chance to unfit parents. The state does not care about the trauma at the expense of the children. The state doesn't have to be there to pick up the pieces. Also, he's a good dad. He's a present dad. He loves his kids. Parent-teacher conferences and dropping off at school and making dinners. There is no doubt that he loves his kids and is a good dad and provides them a stable environment, clean home, room full of toys and books and games, food in the fridge, goes to work every day. The kids aren't around during us fighting or when things get bad between us. We don't disrespect their fragile stability by involving them. They are quickly shuttled elsewhere for us to hash it out. I just wanted to put all these things out here. He's good to his kids. CPS won't do anything unless he fails his drug tests for something other than what he's prescribed, which is considered MAT to a court and a judge and is still technically sober. The issues are that his behaviors, actions and gaslighting have caused me an enormous amount of pain. I understand his automatic response to lie about drugs. That's all he's ever done his entire life. I'm not saying that the lying and gaslighting about Suboxone isn't technically abuse. What I'm saying is I understand it more than most because I've been in his shoes and I've done it. Maybe it's my karma. Maybe it's not and I deserve more. Maybe I need to walk away. Maybe, and highly unlikely, he will recover without the use of maintenance drugs and never lie again. I don't know. This is why I'm lost. I read a while back that adult relationships can't be unconditional for them to stay healthy. You need to look out for yourself and your own well-being while he works through his issues. Addiction is hard to overcome. I am happy to hear that you did. You know that it is a daily struggle. I can only imagine the shame this man feels. He seems to be trying to get clean. Yet he probably feels that he has let everyone down. Hopefully he will succeed. If he needs something to stay off the opiates, I've also been down the same road. Tell him to look into Sublocade, SP? It's an injectable shot into the fat of your stomach where it deposits and slowly releases the medicine. It starts at 200 or 300 mg first 2 months, then lowers to 100 mg, then 50 mg by the 4th month. Totally takes away all cravings and nothing to abuse or have the little ones accidentally find it and take it. This is why addiction can be extra hard to beat. Not only do you have to leave whatever you're addicted to behind, but you also have to leave people you think you care about that would drag you back to your addiction behind too. That's the extra difficult part. He's not only an addict, he is an abusive addict. Look at all this gaslighting and driving you mad to the point where your mental health has taken a dive. A lot people think an abusive relationship is only one where a person is hit. There's a lot more to it than that. Abuse is physical, sexual, financial, mental, verbal, or any combination thereof. It's fine to be selfish here. You can't set yourself on fire to keep another person warm. Find somewhere safe, tour those kids and move on. You already know that your number one priority has to be your sobriety. It's the only way you'll survive. Your boyfriend endangers your sobriety. It doesn't matter how or why or whether he means to. You can't be with him. You should talk to a lawyer to see what your options are regarding the kids. Many places have free legal aid clinics. You have been standing in the role of a mother to them for years, and in some jurisdictions you could get visitation or even custody rights if you break up with their dad and he is unfit to parent, depending on the circumstances. You say the mom is in and out of their lives. Would she be willing to terminate her parental rights to let you adopt? Even if you plan to stay with your partner now, I think getting some info on your options is the smart thing to do in case you find out that he's using more than you think. You can hope for the best but prepare for the worst, you know? This is way beyond our pay grade. Al-Anon specializes in this, though. They help people who love addicts learn how to interact with them in a healthy way. They know where the healthy boundaries are. It's free and they have online meetings now. I'm so sorry you're going through this, op. The sad truth is that you cannot help someone that doesn't realize they need help. It's not up to you to get your boyfriend sober. Though your support can help him immensely, it is ultimately up to him to make the decision to want to be sober. Until he makes that decision, there's not much you can really do. My ex defended me when current boyfriend wouldn't. Can't stop thinking about it. I, 31F, was with my ex-boyfriend, 34M, for 4 years. Overall, we had a great relationship except for one thing: my ex, we'll call him John, was absolutely terrible with money. He had a good job making good money, had a good work ethic, but couldn't save a dime to save his life. We had a long engagement and wanted to buy a house together and start a family as soon as we got married. The engagement got closer and closer and nothing changed. A day or two before his paydays he'd ask me for money because he'd run out. He would always pay me back, so I always gave him some. He'd eat out all the time, buy too many packs of cigarettes, buy too much beer. We'd talk, he'd promise change, but the changes never stuck. I tolerated this for so long because despite his financial irresponsibility, he treated me really well. He was sweet, kind, empathetic and caring. Also, not that it's super important, but he was also very handsome and we had a great sex life. The end came when we had a particularly bad fight close to the wedding. It was time to put money down for the location, vendors and other wedding-related expenses. It wasn't a super expensive wedding in relation to our salaries, $0.8K altogether. He kept dragging his feet before admitting to me he hadn't saved anything. It was the last straw. Some of you may say that's no reason to end things, but I was fed up. He'd been telling me that he was saving and not to worry. I told him I wanted to take a break. The break eventually became permanent and we separated for good almost 2 years ago. Fast forward to now and I've been dating my current BF, we'll call him Mark, 36M, for about 8 months. He's a good guy, good job, much more financially responsible and overall treats me well. We live in the same area as my ex. We run into each other every so often and John is always polite and says hello. He's got a new girlfriend he seems happy with and she's always cool with me when we cross paths. He's actually introduced himself to Mark and they get along fine in social settings. The incident that just happened. Mark and I were at a local event having some drinks and dancing and having a good time when this drunk guy, looked like a fuckboy, kept trying to dance with me and one of my girlfriends. He'd get behind me, grab my hips, thighs and basically start grinding into my ass. A couple times he straight grabbed my crotch over my jeans. I could feel he had a hard-on and he was being persistent. Mark was having a beer with one of his friends so he wasn't that close to me. Eventually, when my requests for him to leave me alone fell on deaf ears, I said something to Mark and his response was, "Just go to a different part of the dance floor or go get something to eat. He'll probably leave or move on to someone else." This didn't sit well with me at all. I expected him to say something to this creep groping and grinding on me. My friend and I are in the smoking area. Mark doesn't smoke. He's inside still, taking a break when John and his girlfriend show up. John sees I'm pissed and asks what's wrong. I gave him the rundown and could see him get visibly upset as I spoke. When I was finished, John asked me what the guy looked like. I told him one very distinguishing clothing accessory he had on. John asked if his girlfriend could hang with us while he took care of something. We were kind of taken aback but said of course. John had been protective when we were together but nothing like this had ever happened while we dated. I didn't really know what to expect. John left to go inside. His girlfriend bummed a smoke and chit-chatted with us for about 10 minutes until John came back out. He told me he didn't think that guy would bug us the rest of the night but that he and his girlfriend have to go. I didn't really know what to say. I think I just said something like, "Oh, okay. Have a good night, good seeing you guys." He and his girlfriend both gave me a hug, and they left. His girlfriend didn't seem bothered at all. My friend and I go back inside. I find Mark and he asks if I've seen John. I said yeah, but he just left. Mark then told me John went up to the guy that was assaulting, dancing on us and beat the living shit out of him, and was kicked out by security. The rest the night went fine. But ever since then I can't stop thinking I made a mistake leaving John. The fact that Mark did nothing while my ex took action, basically in front of his new girlfriend even, has made me see my current boyfriend in a completely different way. I don't feel attracted to him at all anymore. I don't see him as a man. I know that sounds terrible. The last time we had sex I literally pictured John beating the shit out of fuckboy so I could get off. I know John is happy with his new GF. She seems sweet and even if I could get him back I wouldn't feel right about it. But, I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a ton of regret for leaving him. Maybe this will fade because the incident is so fresh? Would this be a valid for breaking up with Mark? I know it sounds like a silly one-off type incident that shouldn't mean too much, but it's been weighing on my mind heavily. Neither guy is the one. You weren't wrong for leaving John. Financial literacy is a thing, and the implications can follow you around for the rest of your life. But you also wouldn't be wrong to dump Mark. If you ever get mugged, he's the kind of guy who'd turn and run, leaving you to fend for yourself. He doesn't have to show that behavior more than once for you to know it's how he's wired. Taking everything to do with your ex out of the picture, I wouldn't stay with a man whose response to me being harassed to that degree like that is so passive and dismissive. Both of them reacted shittily. John shouldn't have beat the guy. That's a good way to get a felony. Mark could have confronted the guy to tell him to stop or gone to security. You also had agency to remove yourself and tell security but chose not to. Really, you both should have left after informing security and just gone home for the night. Sounds like your relationship is over regardless. Mark didn't stand up for you then and most likely won't stand up for you in the future. You have to decide how important that is for you. I think this is a personality trait. It's either there or it's not, and with Mark it's not. Talking to Mark won't change that. Your boyfriend had no reaction to you being sexually assaulted. Dump him. It's not about him not fighting the fuckboy or not being macho enough or any of that shit. It's the fact that he was just dismissive of it all. I've had strangers react better to stuff like that. I've had strangers look out for me when they didn't have to. I've been followed and scared and other men have jumped in to help. John being visibly upset would have been enough for me. He shouldn't have resorted to violence and you shouldn't get back together with him, but you're feeling as you are because he showed you he cared when Mark didn't. So, dump Mark and don't approach John. Neither are right for you. Why didn't you just talk to security to get the guy kicked out? You make it seem like Mark had to have an altercation with some drunk. I recall some girl posted on here how her MMA boyfriend got into a fight with two drunk guys and ended up pretty badly injured to the point where he had to miss out on a critical fight the week after. Don't know what your goal was unless you wanted to be a damsel in distress. Edit. Words. It's not wrong to feel regret. It wasn't wrong to leave John because he wasn't financially stable, and it's okay to break things off with Mark. But please don't chase after John and ruin his new relationship. That wouldn't be fair on him or his girlfriend. I do think you need to find someone better than Mark. One that doesn't wave off sexual harassment. Maybe even give yourself space to experiment a little. I, 18M. Have a feeling that my girlfriend, 19F, is secretly trans. Hello. First off, thank you for clicking on this post, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you for reading it. Anyways, I'm an 18-year-old male, and I've been in a relationship with my 19-year-old girlfriend for a little over 2 years now. So far, the relationship has been wonderful. Believe it or not, there hasn't been a single fight or anything whatsoever. Communication has been perfect. She is incredibly caring and honest. She takes responsibility for her actions and shows genuine appreciation for me. I honestly love her, so I try to be as open and honest as I possibly can. However, I sort of ran into a roadblock recently with the relationship in terms of communication. My girlfriend and I live apart. I'm still a senior, she's fresh into college, so she sent me a text saying that she needs to tell me something, and it would work best in a private space in person. She claimed that it's extremely important because depending on how I take the news, it might possibly be the end of the relationship. This was extremely stress-inducing to hear, and I told her that. She apologized for stressing me out, but insisted that I meet up with her the next time I have a chance, which would be in a few days from now. I just agreed without communicating much, besides the fact that it was stressful to hear, as I care for the relationship and her well-being, and this is where the communication problem comes in. I have reason to believe that the thing that may end the relationship may be that she's secretly transgender, but hasn't come out yet, but I didn't communicate my thoughts at all due to my stress, and I'm afraid to contact her about this since she told me to meet up in person. It may be extremely bold to assume someone may have gender dysphoria or is trans, but I have a feeling that my girlfriend is secretly trans. And I can't shake that feeling. I'll explain why, but first, I extensively apologize ahead of time if I come off as pretentious, naive, or just plain inexperienced, as I am kind of inexperienced when it comes to transgender people and gender dysphoria. Anyways, she has always dressed in men's clothing and maintained a masculine style of clothing. She has a high level of testosterone, blood tested. So I think she may have started hormone therapy. Her friends always joked with me about her being trans. I never took them seriously. She maintains an androgynous appearance, short hair, chest binder, etc. And I've got many other examples. But most of all, she has always seemed a bit weird when it comes to gender and societal norms. She has always sort of been against women and inherently in men's favor. She kind of holds men up to this strange pedestal. Her perspective on men and women has always sort of rubbed me the wrong way. But looking at it from the perspective that she's trans and feels more comfortable with masculinity than femininity, it kind of makes sense. I genuinely support transgender people, and I support the LGBT+ community as a whole, but I'm attracted to cisgender women. I love my girlfriend, but if she transitioned, I don't think I would be attracted to her. I would still love her and I would want to keep contact as friends, but I don't think I'd be able to continue the relationship. And assuming that she is trans and hasn't come out yet, I'm assuming that the thing she needs to tell me is her confessing that she wants transition, which would sadly ruin the relationship. What should I do and how can I communicate this? Am I overthinking this all? Also, I sincerely apologize if I was at all transphobic or offensive in my post. I didn't mean to be offensive at all. TLDR, my girlfriend of 2 years told me she has a confession to make that may possibly end the relationship. She told me to meet up with her in a couple of days, so she can confess to me. I have reason to believe that her confession will be that she has secretly been transgender, and hasn't been open about it yet. I'm not attracted to trans men, so it wouldn't work. How do I communicate this? What should I do? For me, it seems quite inconsiderate of her to text you that she has possible relationship-ending news and just keeping you on hold for several days. This is not very respectable to put your partner in anxiety and drop teasers of hard talk without elaborating. Maybe it is very hard for her and she couldn't hold it anymore, but then she should have told you that you two just need to meet. And #X200B. Anyway, wish you luck, hope you two will be alright. I mean, my first thought would have been that she cheated, since is away at school. But if her being trans is popping into your head so hard, then please update us on what the news is later. Be respectful and be thankful to her for being honest. And respectfully be honest with her, or him if that's the way the conversation does go. You're not obligated to be with someone you don't feel compatible with. If what you think is true, it's going to be a tough meeting for everyone. Your partner is going to find it extremely hard to come out. You're going to need to support them, but by the sounds of things, you're also going to have to end your relationship. Just go in there with a clear mind and feelings. Give each other a moment to speak. Try to wait a few seconds before responding to ensure it's thoughtful and kind. Just let them know that you're heterosexual and as much as you love them as a person, you're just not into dudes. It can't be helped. Hope everything goes well for you both. XX. There is also the possibility that she could be non-binary. I'm sorry that she sprung the "we need to talk" thing on you when it couldn't be done right away. As a person with anxiety, it is honestly the worst feeling. But at the same time, sometimes it's important to let a partner know ahead of time that there is a serious conversation to be had, but generally with hints or flat out saying, "Hey, we need to discuss this. I wish you both luck, and am honestly happy to see how you're handling this." It sounds more like she's struggling with internalized misogyny. Wait until she confesses, then take some time to process whatever it is. Have y'all ever had intercourse? I am confused why you're confused lol. My fiancé cheated on me. I've, 32F, been with my fiancé, 33M, for 5 years. We were supposed to get married last August, but made the tough decision to postpone our big day until August of 2022 because a lot of our older family members had expressed concerns with flying and being around a crowd of people. I met him at work. We are both hairstylists at a higher-end salon. It's not a really creative environment. Occasionally you'll get someone who wants rainbow hair, but other than that it's very generic colors and cuts. Like 9 months ago, he told me he was feeling really depressed and stagnant at work and wanted to quit and work in a more creative environment. I supported him and he started working at a new salon within the month. Literally everyone who works there is in their early to mid-20s besides him. Instantly he was so much happier, and within a few weeks he expressed his desire to start trying for a family and wanting me to come off the pill. I told him though it would be better to wait a little while, preferably after the wedding, because he wasn't bringing in the same money he used to. Some of his clients followed him, but the majority didn't, so his book money was cut in half. His birthday is in May and he brought up trying again and how he's in a good place at work and the timing is right. I agreed to come off BC, not really trying or prevent it, thinking it would take months to get pregnant. I get pregnant in June, 20 weeks 4 days. And we're both excited for the next chapter of our lives together. July he changes his hours and starts working more, and he tells me it's because he wants to be able to have money set aside for the baby because I won't be working for 6-8 weeks after birth. I don't think anything of it and think it's sweet he's trying to provide for the baby. 2 weeks ago he sits me down crying, telling me he fucked up. I'm thinking he got fired. He cheated on me with his 20-year-old apprentice, stylist under him. I was in complete shock. Because this is what he wanted. He told me it's been going on since he found out I was pregnant because all of a sudden things he thought about just got really real and he couldn't handle it. I told him I couldn't deal with all this now and he needed to get out and stay with friends or family. He's been calling and texting me non-stop and apologizing. Wanting to work on things, but he won't quit. I don't trust him and don't think I can unless he leaves his jobs and isn't around her all the time. I've talked to my therapist about this and I really don't know what the right answer is here. I'm not pissed, I'm hurt. He's going to be in my life forever one way or another. I told him I'm 99% sure this is something I can't get over. I'm really trying my hardest to stay calm for the baby's sake because I know stress isn't good and can lead to issues. Any advice would be great? Him not being involved is not an option. I would never be that cruel. He'll be a great father. He's so good with kids. Too long did not read. My fiancé cheated on me with a stylist working under him and he refuses to quit, but wants to work on things. So he begs you to have a baby. You get pregnant and he reacts by starting an affair with his apprentice? Not really a guy you can trust when under pressure, is he? He didn't cheat, he is cheating. And he's doing it with someone who he has power over at work. The non-stop texting is because he knows you're wavering and he doesn't want to give you time alone to think. He may be a great dad someday, but he's a shitty partner. You said you're 99% sure you can't get over this. And that's all the advice you need. You aren't required to forgive him. You aren't required to get over it. You aren't required to give it a try. You don't have to try to trust him again even if he leaves his new job. You don't. Your only requirement is doing whatever it is you feel deep down. And that 99% is what you feel. Just because he's dating a child, doesn't mean that he would be a good dad. He didn't just cheat on you, he cheated on your child too. He cheated on your family. He threw away a happy and positive environment for you to raise your baby in, and now it will never not be filled with resentment. And that will stay with you both for the rest of your lives. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. He pushed to start a family, and when he got exactly what he wanted it, supposedly, stressed him out to a point him cheated, putting you and your unborn child at risk for STI, STD. This is a part of his character instability. It's okay to get stressed as you're undergoing significant life changes, but it's not okay to betray, lie, cheat and put those you love through callous harm. My guess would be he's low-key trying to build a harem. Get you to forgive him because he apologized and keep seeing the other girl on the DL. Why else would he push for you to get pregnant, then start cheating on you straight away? He's trying to trap you and have a younger GF. Gross. Stick to your guns and talk to his management.